Hey, good morning, everybody. It's your boy Nerdicane here again. Um, Wanted to crank out a quick video on a subject that I've been thinking about. So, there's been a lot of disgruntled talk about Marvel currently, and as a manager, I used to manage and I used to own a restaurant. Uh, Whenever somebody would start come to me complaining about the restaurant, generally I would just say, okay, if there's a suggestion or if you have an idea along with this complaint, cool, I want to hear it. If you're just complaining to complain and you have really nothing to add, piss off. That was pretty much my philosophy back then. So Marvel's in trouble. The numbers are out there. They're selling sub 25,000 in America, and America, the reading public is huge. So I wanted to come up with 5 suggestions, basically the 5 things I would do if suddenly I woke up tomorrow and I got a phone call and they said, "Hey, you're in charge of Marvel Comics. Right the ship." This is basically what I would do, and what you're going to be looking at as I scroll around. This is just a compilation of comics I have currently to read. Just kind of cool covers and stuff I need to get around to reading. This Amazing Spider-Man 361, first appearance of Carnage. I was at Dragon Con last week and I got that one signed. So, by Mark Bagley. Great guy, real nice guy. Apparently he lives pretty close to where I do and he shows up to all the events. Very nice guy. So, without further ado, I will start. Number 1, I would restore the heroes. Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, they need to be who they were, the classic characters, the classic people, the people we've gotten to know. And it's not an anti-diversity thing. I like Sam Wilson. I want to like Kamala Khan. I want to like Riri. They're just so poorly written right now. They're written as like these flawless caricatures. But the reason is this is not anti-diversity, as some people will scream. It's because right now, Marvel has the imagination and they have the attention of the movie-going audience with the MCU. So somebody goes and watches the Avengers, they should be able to turn around, walk out of that theater, go to a comic book store and say, you know what? I really like the Hulk. I want to go see what a Hulk comic book is like. So you go and you get the Incredible Hulk comic book, and it's Amadeus Cho. Once again, nothing against Amadeus Cho. He could be written better because he's taken the mantle of the Hulk, and it's just like he's like, oh hey, just having a good time being the Hulk. When I think Diversity in Comics said a few weeks back, being the Hulk is a curse. It's going to screw your life up really badly. Yeah, it's not something you just kind of like walk into and you're just like, oh, having a good time being the Hulk. Watch me, I'm going to jump to the moon. That's not it. It's something that Banner has had to deal with and struggle with and overcome. So yeah, the original characters need to be back with their mantles. You have the biggest things in the cinema right now are comic book movies. So when a customer interested in that character goes to the comic book shop, they should be able to pick up a comic book and it's Tony Stark as Iron Man, not Riri Williams. I mean, I don't want those characters to go away because I think they could be good additions to the Marvel Universe. I just don't think they should be in that mantle, in that role, while new customers are coming in to check out the comic book universe. So, second thing, this has to do with sales. I call this the survival of the fittest initiative. The books, all Marvel books are going to be ranked into 4 tiers: top tier, second tier, third tier, and fourth tier. Your top tier books are going to be selling over 100,000. They need to sell over 100,000. That's your Spider-Man, that's your Avengers, that's your X-Men. These are your marquee Marvel comic books. To, I'm sure, Captain Cummings' dismay, part of this, what I would do, is not to fire anybody. Everybody keeps their job, everybody keeps doing what they're doing, but if you are on a top tier book and you're not selling 100,000, you're not going to be on that top tier book for very long. It's a meritocracy. It's not going to be representationalism in who gets to write and who gets to draw the comic. Second tier is 50,000. Once again, I would say your second tier is probably I can't really think of any of that right now. Iron Fist would be second tier. Luke Cage. They're popular enough to have a Netflix series, and you should be selling 50,000 of that comic book. Third tier is 25,000, and then everything below that is fourth tier. It's okay if you're a fourth tier book and you're selling under 20,000, but you need to understand that when it's time to come up with a new book, the things on that fourth tier are on the chopping block. So your book is gone. And another thing having to do with this, we're not going to do an event for about a year and a half. We're going to let the universe settle. We're going to create some storylines, make some interest in these characters, flesh out some of these new characters, and yeah, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do an event for a year and a half. But when we do that event, the writers in the top tier books and the best, the books that are performing best in their tiers, those are the writers who we're going to get together and say, okay, let's get together, let's write a book, let's write an event. Throw your ideas at me. Let me see what you got. As Rick and Morty, as the heads would say, show me what you got. Okay. Third thing, stop the Twitter hate. I'm a big advocate of, free speech and doing what you want, saying whatever the hell you want on your own time. But here's the thing: if you're a writer or you're an artist for Marvel, you are representing Marvel when you go out there into public and you post anything that is read by the public. So having huge block lists and basically just antagonizing the fans on Twitter, that's not going to fly. You're not going to do that and work for my company because you're hurting the brand. Getting into an argument with somebody never ends well for a company, especially if you're a manager, if you're a bartender, if you're an artist. It's just not going to go. It's going to be somebody who, they may love your book, but when they think about your book, they're going to think about you instead of the book. And they're going to be like, you know what? I don't want to buy that. So all this Twitter hate, if you want to argue with fans and you want to push your political agenda, your political thought, create an alternate account. Do it on that. But you're not going to be working for my company while pissing off fans. Okay? That's it. The next thing, this is to save comic book shops. Marvel needs to focus on, they need a card game. Like World of Warcraft has their Hearthstone. They need a collectible card game, because something like that with comic book stores, it's a good way to make money when they do these Friday Night Magic and things like that, because it gets people through the door. And if you have a successful card game, if you have a good card game, it gets people through the door of the comic book shop. Now, they don't necessarily make a whole lot of money selling the cards, but they make money selling sodas and chips and things to the people who are there playing for 2 to 3 hours. That's a revenue source that comic book shops can have. There's a lot of comic book shops closing. The health of the industry is not good. So your card game, your hero clicks, there's going to be a little more emphasis on the hero clicks. And also when you do an event, a big Marvel event, the cards and the hero clicks have to tie in as well. So say it was the original Civil War. Well, the original Civil War, and if you could tie in your HeroClix and your card game into that as well, that's more attention to the comic books, and more people might pick up the comic books and read the comic books. So each thing kind of plays off of each other to kind of promote the other. Also, send, like if you're having a new storyline come up and it's good, whether it be Iron Fist or The Amazing Spider-Man, when that storyline begins, the first issue of that storyline, send extras to the comic book shop. And these extras are for them to just hand out. So say somebody comes in and they're not normally a comic book buyer. There's somebody in a comic book store saying, oh, well, this is neat. I want to see what this is like. You know, I like the movies. That is for the comic book shop owner to hand them. Say, hey, here, read this. If you have kids, give it to your kid. Let them read it. And it kind of hooks them in. You're kind of becoming like a drug dealer, only you're pushing comics. So you give them the first issue of a storyline that you're doing. And the storyline may run all year. It may run 4 issues, 5 issues. But you're getting them hooked. And if your writing is good enough, you'll get the reader hooked in. And guess what? A month later, they come back for the second part. They come back for the third part. So you send the extras of that, trying to get people into comics. Like I said, all eyes are on Marvel Comics right now because of the movies. And they really need to start capitalizing on that in the comics, because a lot of comics are selling sub 15,000. And a lot of comics that shouldn't be selling sub 15,000 are selling sub 15,000. The last thing I would do is new talent. A company's future is only as healthy as the talent coming in. So every year, well, actually every 6 months, I would do a new talent contest. Basically, if you're good at writing, if you have a story, write the story, send it in. The editors will go over it. They'll pick their favorites, and then the one who gets picked, guess what? Your story is going to become a filler issue. And we all know that comics do filler issues every once in a while, but you're going to get to do a comic. Your story is going to be turned into a comic. It's just a one-shot. You get one issue. You're not going to write the next event, but you get that one filler issue that's going to be your story. So I don't care if you're 12 years old. If you're 12 years old and you write a compelling Cap story, guess what? Your Cap story is probably going to win that contest, and your story is probably going to be turned into a comic. If you're a 40-year-old mother of 3 from Peoria, and you write a really good Miss Marvel story, guess what? Yours is probably going to win. Your Miss Marvel story is going to be turned into a comic. And that's a foot in the door. If you have more stories like that, show it to us. You may become a writer. But it's not, we're not going to give you that shot because you're a 40-year-old mother of 3 from Peoria. We're going to give you that shot because you wrote a really good story and you've earned it. So yeah, that's the 5 things that I would do. Right here, like I said, I just came back from Dragon Con. These are some really cool artists and crafters that I met while I was at Dragon Con. This guy in particular, great guy, really nice guy. I made a video a while back and it got some hate on Funko Pop, why I hate him so much. This dude will do sketches for you, and he's very talented. He'll do sketches for you for like $25, which is a little more than a Funko Pop. But if you do it, you'll have a piece of art that's art. It's better. So yeah, I just want to give these people a good shout out. These are real nice folks. Check them out if you're interested in any of this. But yeah, that's the 5 things I would do to help save Marvel. Kind of interested. I may send this over to Captain Cummings and Diversity in Comics to see what they think. But my name is Nerdicane. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Tell me what you would do in the comments. And have a good day. Thanks.